Welcome to 702 Red Devils Chat. I'm your host, Ryland, and with me, as always, is Jay for our FA Cup preview.
Howdy, guys.
So, tomorrow morning, afternoon, I guess, depending on what time zone you're in, we play Leicester City in the quarterfinals, I believe, for the FA Cup. At first, I didn't know we were still in the FA Cup, to be honest. So, it's been a while since we played this. And we're going to go look into the preview for this and, how we look, what to expect, and honestly, how important is it that we get this trophy? So, start off just overall, how good do you feel about this game, Jay?
You know what? Leicester's been a pretty good team this year. They're third in the league right behind us, so they're obviously a quality team. And, they've won the league.
That is true. Before we have
recently. So they're a good team, and that's the question that I'm interested in. Are we going to roll out our best squad possible to try to win this, and how badly do we want to win the FA Cup? Because this is another possible trophy that we could win for Ole. So. At this point, I don't know if it's easier for us to win the Europa League or the FA Cup. So, that's what I'm curious to see.
That's an interesting
how
point.
hard we go tomorrow.
I actually think the FA Cup will be the harder draw from what's going forward.
We're going to have to beat City.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Which we've done.
We beat City.
So
that's
far.
Easy.
So at this point. But looking at facing Granada, which was our draw for the moving on, I feel like Europa League definitely looks like the better path. Can't say how it's going to work out, but
why not win both of them?
Yeah,
that would have a double.
If we can win 2 trophies, finish second place,
that'd be sick.
That would definitely make the season a lot better looking at this point, especially with all the injuries. So style of tactics wise, it seems like we're kind of going up against a mirror image of ourselves, at least the way we play now. Leicester's been known as a counter-attacking team that sits back, doesn't really care about possession, wants to get us on the break. Sounds like another team I know in red.
Yep. I'm curious to see how Leicester comes out tomorrow as well. They have a couple injuries. I think we should be able to boss their midfield, depending on who we play. Fred's in the team. I don't know.
That's a fact.
But they don't have Madison, who's their kind of quarterback in their midfield, and so if we could take advantage of that, that would be great. If Vardy's playing, you cannot give him a single opportunity around the 18-yard box because he's going to finish it. He has an uncanny ability to score with one chance, and that's the dagger. It seems like it's always Vardy that does that. So if we can keep those guys under wraps. Recently they've had Iheanacho.
If that's how you say his name, yeah, he seems like he's been playing a lot better. I don't really know much about him, but he seems to be doing pretty well.
He's a City player that kind of could never break into the starting squad, and so he was on the fringes there. And then he ended up at Leicester just this year, I think. I don't know that he's been there very long, but he's just started playing a little bit because Vardy had some injuries, and he came in and he's been a bear to deal with. So
he had a hat trick most recently, right?
And so he's kind of flying. Tielemans in their midfield, he's played well recently. So, but he's really the only player in their midfield that I'm worried about is Tielemans. So.
Missing Madison definitely is going to be a big hit for them, but they're playing well no matter what. Compared to us, their bench seems to be stepping up to the occasion and playing well.
Well, they use their bench.
Yeah, they use their bench. Yeah, and they play real minutes. Yeah, will we actually make a sub in the second half? That which was pretty strange. That first time in a long, long time that we didn't use a sub the entire match.
Yep. That was very weird. And then I think in the Europa League this last week against AC Milan, we only made one change, and it was Pogba. What a good change to make.
God, that was huge, too.
I'm curious to see if Pogba starts this FA Cup game. Because if we can get through this game without any injury news, they don't play next week. They have like an entire week off for international duties and stuff. And word is that they're not going to be allowing some of the players to leave because when they come back, they'd have to sit out for 2 weeks. And so a lot of these people aren't going to be going away, especially our African players.
That's an interesting point, because one of the things I just read recently before this video is that Martial has been given the okay to go to France and play.
Sure, you can go to France, yeah.
And maybe that says something when it comes to transfers opening up, is, hey, go ahead and play with Didier. We're okay with that. We've got something else planned. I don't know. That's a little bit odd. So far as injuries go, Martial, Cavani, and Rashford are all questionable, and Rashford's probably the one that matters the most, although he's probably been playing with a broken clavicle for all we know right now, and he needs a break, quite honestly.
Rashford has not looked great.
No, not at all.
And I would like to get Cavani back. It seemed like he was going to play on Thursday in the Europa League, and he decided that he wasn't ready to travel, so he didn't go. So you give him a couple extra days. Hopefully he's ready to play now. But it would be great if Cavani could get some time and maybe score a goal, kind of get some confidence back, because we're going to need him on these last 5-6 games of the season. And in the Europa League. We need that forward. Pogba can't be our forward.
Yeah, it's funny you say that, though, because I know we had talked yesterday and you said Paul Pogba really could be playing that kind of advanced position. He was playing like left winger when he came on for Rashford, which, really that's the position Rashford was there, but I didn't really think they were going to play the same spot. But he was pretty far up the field, and, he definitely helped things a lot in our favor.
Yeah.
So
he was playing better hold-up play than any of our other forwards, better than Greenwood or Rashford or Dan James. He was the most advanced player. They were finding his huge body, and he was playing the way he was facing. It was good stuff. I was very happy with Paul Pogba. I'm just curious if he can play an entire game with his fitness levels right now. That's the only question. But I definitely expect Paul Pogba to play tomorrow in some capacity.
I'm predicting he's probably going to get subbed on. I don't know if he'll start, but he did play, half the game, so maybe he'll be okay. I've seen stranger things with
Ole's made weird decisions,
Yeah, who knows? Maybe Van de Beek will start that game. that would.
You know what?
He started some previous FA Cups. So it wouldn't be totally
most
odd.
of his game time. Van de Beek's game time is in FA Cup games, so it wouldn't be crazy if. Maybe no Shaw, Tellez instead. Van de Beek in the middle. He'll probably play Modic, and I don't know about Juan Mata. I don't know how his injuries are doing, but I would expect to see some French players starting.
That would be good for us. I'll tell you what. If I saw something like a Modic, Van der Beek, and Pogba midfield, or I don't know. I assume Bruno, because Bruno plays every time.
He's every game.
That wouldn't be bad. I think Donnie needs to get in the game, and I think this would be good for him. He's going to be cheering a lot when Pogba scored, so he looked athletic enough to get up there and get excited. How bad do we need this game compared to the league match against Leicester City, which will be here shortly?
If I had to choose one or the other, I would rather win this FA Cup game than the league game, because we could lose the league game against Leicester and still finish in the top 4
or draw. Yeah, that's true. That's true.
And because we have other games to make up for it, but if we lose once in the FA Cup, we're done. We can't win that trophy. And I'm not saying that it's impossible for us to win the league. It's just it's very unlikely at this point with the gap that Man City's been able to create. It doesn't seem likely that they're going to lose 4 games of their last 6. But
they may not even lose one.
They may not lose any. Yeah.
Yeah, I think they'll actually lose one match coming up, but I think that'll be it. Maybe they'll lose one and draw one, and that might be the end of it. And maybe it's the one we play. Who knows? But that's a good point. I think that this probably does mean more, because by that point we'll probably have locked up top 4 to a certain degree. So finishing second or third doesn't really make that. You don't get a trophy for one versus the other, so it doesn't really matter. It's just placement in the.
It would be nice if we were second place, just to show a little improvement from last year. And hey, Man City, we're getting close. You know what I mean? We're getting closer and closer to you. You better watch your back. But yeah, I think winning this FA Cup would be awesome. We haven't won an FA Cup in a while.
Yeah, I think it would be. Last one was it Louis van Gaal? I'm thinking it was wild. The one with Jesse Lingard scored a goal, and Martial had a.
And we beat an inferior team. Like, we should have won the game anyway.
Yeah.
But it was a lot closer than it should have been, and we ended up winning. Jesse Lingard scored the goal. It was kind of like a little bouncing volley in the middle of the field, I think.
It was Everton we were playing against, if I remember right.
Could have been.
Yeah, that was an exciting cup too. I remember, like, we seemed to get a better draw that year than this year. This year we've had to play Liverpool.
We had to work hard.
We're working hard just to get to
now
the
we're
quarterfinals.
playing Leicester, and it's like, geez.
Yeah,
why can't we play one of these like third division teams on their little tiny field?
It's certainly been a rough draw, this one, which I think goes back to the whole thing against the Europa League. I think the Europa League will certainly be an easier draw since we're playing Granada,
honestly, what are they, a Spanish team? I'm assuming they're a Spanish team. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm sure they'll be skilled and they'll be good, but it could have been worse. We could have got Roma.
Yes, Ajax.
We could have got Ajax. We could have got Arsenal or the Russian team that just beat, or was it Croatian team that just beat Tottenham.
That's probably the one that scares me the most, actually, because they seem to be like riding a wave.
You got to go play in Croatia. That ain't easy.
I actually think of the remaining teams left, Ajax is the one that's going to be the biggest challenge, just because they play well together. Total football, all that jazz. I mean, from the time I saw them make that run in the Champions League, I just think they're a well-run organization.
They are. They develop players and then they sell them, and they're kind of in a rebuilding time right now where they don't have a bunch of those star players that they're going to be selling to Champions League football teams. Van de Beek came from there. De Ligt. What's the big dude that plays for? I think it was Real Madrid that he bought or something. But anyway, they sold like 3 or 4 of those players.
Yeah, you're talking about
Ziyech, I think.
Yeah.
From Chelsea. He went there.
Ziyech, yeah.
I mean, they sold their entire team after that run.
They had a squad, too.
They started all over. And, they're still probably going to win the Dutch League, but they win the Dutch League every year.
And obviously, we got the best transfer out of them all with Donny. And that guy is killing it.
Clearly, he can't even break the starting squad for our under 23s. Which I'm surprised they don't start Bruno Fernandes in those games too.
I'm sure that guy's going to be worn out by the end of the year.
I bet you he can't wait to play for Portugal or whatever, dude. That dude he's a baller. That's just what he does. He just balls.
Something I'm kind of thinking about too for tomorrow is what is Leicester City going to put out there? I mean, are they going to go for it all and play their toughest line as well?
Well, they're in a tougher spot than us in the league, so that they got to be thinking about it. They got to be thinking about whether or not they want to risk injuries or whatever, and how important the FA Cup is to them. But they know that they can't win the league, and they're not in the Champions League anymore.
Right.
They're not in the FA or the Europa League anymore, so they're not in any other cups other than this one. So this is kind of their only opportunity to win a trophy. So they're probably going to go balls out, would be my guess.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what kind of is a twist on this is Brendan Rodgers is managing the team, and I feel like he's riding high lately and doing a pretty good job.
Hey, mad respect. Yeah, I think he's done a great job.
I mean, from start to finish of this year, what he's done with that group has been pretty impressive. I wouldn't imagine that they would even be here at this point. I know at one point I think they were in first place in this wild season.
I was waiting for him to fall away, and they did a little bit. They let us kind of surpass them there, but they're a quality squad.
So what is your prediction for tomorrow's match? What do you see it as?
I don't think it will be high scoring, but I would like to see us squeak out a 2-1 victory. I just don't know who's going to score. I wouldn't be surprised if there was a corner kick goal. Maybe Big Head, Jughead, what's his name?
Harry Maguire.
Harry Maguire, if he can't use his big noggin to score one, maybe. And then I would love to see maybe a Pogba goal. I think that would be great. Or a Bruno Fernandes goal from the run of play, like not a penalty kick. I think those would be great for...
Very beneficial. I'm going to go with 3-0. I think we're going to play surprisingly well tomorrow.
Love it.
It would be nice to see just kind of an onslaught. And I actually think we're going to score most of the goals in the first half.
Love it. I would love to see that.
That would be great. At least let's say at least 2 of them. I'm going to say Luke Shaw gets a goal or at least an assist. We're going to see a good match out of him. I think we're going to get a goal from our midfield, and I actually think it might be somebody like Scott McTominay or Van de Beek. And then the last one will probably be, the dagger at the end. It could be like a Rashford, Martial, Dan James in like the 75th, 80th minute. But we'll be scrappy tomorrow, and somehow we'll get after it. I'm hoping our possession is a little bit better, and that's what I'm curious about, if Fred starts versus Modric, that kind of thing. If Fred doesn't start, say we have that Van de Beek, Modric, Bruno trio, I think that'll actually work out okay. I just have this feeling it's going to work in our favor.
I hope. And if Van de Beek doesn't play tomorrow, he's got to leave, right? Like, he has to be on his way out. How is it possible for him to come and for $35 million and play what, 5 or 6 times? Only start 2 games?
So I've been hearing a lot about that in terms of him being unhappy. And I don't know how much
the news tells us he's not happy. But is that true? I don't know.
And what has that ever happened where somebody comes over in a 1-year like in the first year and then is that unhappy and wants to leave? And I'm sure it does, but it seems highly unusual.
They're usually not as high profile as that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it usually doesn't happen at Manchester United. We at least try to play them. We give them a chance to play, I guess. I don't know.
I mean, Fred was like that a year ago, or his first year. I feel like that was kind of similar in that regard. I mean, could have had some Brazilian newspaper, spitting Portuguese out saying how, Fred wants to get out, but then again, I don't know that Fred was really, ready for that or not. I think Van de Beek deserves to play more. I think we can all say that as fans. Can he fit in? Will it work? That's a whole other story.
Does he deserve it?
Yeah, there's only one there.
Has he earned it in on the practice field and stuff? I don't know. That's got to be decided by them. But regardless, if he doesn't play tomorrow, something's wrong. Something's going on, and so we can kind of just forget about that and move on to whatever's next. So that'll be interesting. That's what I'm paying attention to a little bit. Also, Dean Henderson or De Gea, who starts in net. That'll be a little interesting because I kind of feel like there's a battle going on for our starting keeper position right now.
I definitely would say that, especially with Dino getting a run of form and De Gea taking his paternity leave. It's kind of interesting timing as it's worked out.
It's a rough way to lose your job, but I mean, it happens.
Hey, this is real world stuff. I mean, hell, now you're talking about Donnarumma coming in and replacing both of them, which is,
I hope they do.
Unusual.
There's no reason to pay any of our keepers any more than what we already pay them. We have good goalkeepers. We have 2 of them right now.
So, on that kind of transfer topic, I want to know what you think of Paul Pogba. Is he going to stay this year? First of all, what you're hoping versus what you really think will happen. Go.
I hope he stays, and I think he'll stay. I think he'll stay because nobody else will be able to pay for him what he's worth.
That's a good point.
Because COVID has destroyed the economies in a lot of the countries that he would go to. Spain, Italy, like all those teams are taking on loans right now because they can't buy players like they want. They're loaning players.
That's absolutely
They're getting loans because that's all they can really afford to do. So I don't see Juventus being able to pony up for it. I don't see Real Madrid being able to pony up for it because they just ain't got the money. And those are the 2 teams that everybody's saying that want him. PSG would be the team that I would maybe worry about him going to just because he's French and, there's that connection and PSG can pay whatever they want for anything because they're like trillionaires or whatever. But I think they're more obsessed with getting Messi, it seems like. So
that's a really good point.
Because of all those things, just don't think he's going to go anywhere. And I hope he doesn't, because if he buys in, he could be the most important player. He could be that catalyst that takes us to the next level. With Bruno Fernandes performing, with Paul Pogba performing, if we spend our money on Erling Haaland, like, please get him. I need Haaland in my life. If we could do that, my God, we would be so good.
That would be a huge coup. We pick that up. My take on it is, I think he's doing okay now. I think I want him to stay. I think he wants to leave, but I think he's going to stay because of that finance point. I was just about twisted to say that he probably would go, but you brought up a really valid point. I don't know who's going to be able to afford bringing him over, paying any transfer fee for him, and then paying his wages on top of that, because Juventus was the primary target. Juventus doesn't have that much money lying around.
They're talking about them selling Ronaldo.
Yeah,
because
exactly.
they're poor right now.
And if Ronaldo's even in some kind of weird sway for us to, like, people are talking about, Ronaldo for Pogba kind of thing. I mean, I don't even think that makes sense at all at this point.
Pogba's got too much career left.
Yeah,
to trade
and more upside. I think, like you said one time before, that when Pogba's at his peak, he affects the game so much more from on the field.
It's a game changer.
To off the field and, kit sales, all that kind of stuff. And not that Ronaldo doesn't do that, but I think Ronaldo is getting a little older, and I also don't think he helps the locker room as much. From all the stories I've heard, I think Pogba would be better.
He could help the locker room. I don't know that he always does. But from what I've seen, even back when Jose Mourinho was the coach, and it seemed like everything was going real bad, and he didn't get along with the coach or whatever, the players still really liked Paul Pogba.
Yeah, he's a likable player. I think that's what I mean more than
Like,
anything. Whether the management doesn't get along with him, that's another thing. But I think Paul is very well liked amongst his teammates. There's good chemistry there. Speaks multiple languages, so he can communicate to a lot of people. He's kind of a cool guy. I mean, you imagine
Instagram.
Yeah,
he's
just got that
hair.
swagger. And I mean, Ronaldo is supposed to be that guy, but I feel like there's just too much ego there. Where every time he gets in the locker room on the field, he's like, "Give me the ball." Except he's saying it in Portuguese.
Exactly. And
it's like he's mad when you don't pass it. Like, he might score a goal and he's so angry because you didn't give him the ball on his left foot. It's like, hey, I could have had a hat trick.
Exactly.
In Portuguese.
Yep.
So that's our show for the night. We look forward to the match tomorrow. Hopefully we get good luck and get on with this one and go off into international play with a win. So 702 Red Devil Chat signing out.
Come on, you Red Devils.
Subscribe and check out more videos below.
Check us out.
And like the video as well.
Subscribe. Do all the things that you're supposed to do,
Thank you. Have a good night.